Tracking the pulse of the road and the future of flight. From viral trends to policy shifts, we cut through the traffic to bring you the stories that drive us. Your fast-track guide to everything on the move starts right now. From the Billionaire News Channel studio to Mellow 947 BFM, sitting in for Paulo Del Rosario, I'm Gie Barroga, and this is Shift Happens. We start with the latest in mobility. Cebu Pacific is defending its handling of an incident involving Manila Symphony Orchestra members who complained that violinists were forced to carry their instruments during a flight. The airline said some instrument cases exceeded its standard hand carry limit of 56 by 36 by 23 centimeters and could not be brought on board. Cases that met the limit were allowed in the cabin. Cebu Pacific said the oversized violin cases were checked in free of charge and all orchestra members still made their flights as scheduled. But the orchestra said other airlines have allowed their instruments inside the cabin and warned that carrying fragile, expensive pieces without their cases during the flight risked damage. Meanwhile, Cebu Pacific reminded travelers that a special baggage option for oversized musical instruments is available before booking a flight and urged passengers to check baggage size rules before flying. Lufthansa Technic Philippines is set to build its second base maintenance facility in the Philippines, expanding its footprint at Clark International Airport. The new facility is set to open in 2028 and will span 157,000 square meters, offering a capacity of up to 9 wide-body aircraft bays and opening up to 1,200 highly skilled jobs. The facility in Clark will be Lufthansa Technic's second location in the Philippines and will complement operations at the long-standing site at Ninoy Aquino International Airport in Manila for maintenance, repair, and overhaul of aircraft. After the technical glitch on the MRT-3 Wednesday morning, the LRT-2 encountered a similar problem when one of its trains at the VMAPA station around 7:43 p.m. The Light Rail Transit Authority or LRTA apologized to passengers and asked commuters to alight and transfer to the next train as a safety precaution, avoiding a sudden stop or having to walk along the tracks. The LRTA said train operations continued and were not suspended following the incident. Now, as cities continue to grow and the demand for mobility increases, the way people move has become an important part of the conversation on sustainability, accessibility, and quality of life. From public transport and active mobility to the adoption of cleaner transport solutions, various sectors are working to create a transport system that is not only efficient, but also safe, inclusive, and environmentally responsible. In recent years, there has been a growing push for sustainable transport in the Philippines. Advocates, communities, and organizations have been working to promote cleaner modes of transportation, improve mobility options, and encourage policies that prioritize people over congestion and pollution. One example is the recent initiative led by worker cyclists who launched a bike bus on the eve of Independence Day, a symbolic call for greater freedom of movement, safer streets, and more support for active transport users. Beyond individual campaigns, the movement towards sustainable transport also includes research, policy development, public engagement, and the growing discussion on the role of electric vehicles in reducing transport emissions. As the country continues to balance mobility needs with climate action goals, the conversation on how we move forward becomes more important than ever. To help us better understand the state of sustainable transport in the Philippines, the role of active mobility and electric vehicle adoption, as well as the recent bike bus campaign and other advocacy initiatives being pushed forward today, we're joined by Jheny Dabu, Sustainable Transport Campaigner for 350 Pilipinas.
Hello.
Hi Jheny, thank you so much for coming to Shift Happens.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you for having me and 350 Pilipinas to the show, and good afternoon to the viewers.
Yes. So Jheny, as we've heard earlier, there have been yesterday morning yung MRT-3 glitch and then yung LRT-2 glitch also. Both are technical issues, and we know that during these cases, it's chaos for commuters. What do you think, what does that say about the state of transportation here in the Philippines, especially in Metro Manila?
Well, we can say that the transportation in the Philippines is very volatile. And of course, the Filipino people, especially the 94% of those who do not own motor vehicles, they are subjected to the crisis, especially kaninang umaga ay nagkaroon nga ng glitch sa MRT and LRT. So yung mga tao, wala silang option kung hindi ang mag-adapt doon sa kung ano yung nararanasan na crisis. And then, meron tayong mga available sana na option na kung sakasakali, ma-improve natin yung transportation system natin sa Pilipinas. At the same time, yung mga mobility solutions like improving public transportation, electric mass transit, and of course, adoption of active mobility for them.
What does a typical commuter day like for you?
Every day, ako, sa totoo lang, sumasakay ako ng jeep. Lalo na kung umaga naman, pumapasok ako sa opisina, ito yung mode of transportation ko talaga. Pero pagdating talaga sa gabi, wala na akong option kasi sa totoo lang, malabo yung mata ko, nahihirapan ako maglakad sa gabi. So, bilang commuter, gumagamit ako ng mga ride-hailing apps, sa totoo lang, kapag gabi, pag nahihirapan ako. Pero sa umaga, tinatry ko yung best ko para sumakay ng mga public transportation na available sa atin.
Pero how do you think, is that efficient enough para sa'yo and for all the other commuters also who rely to, kasi yung options eto lang, pero 'di ba yung reliable transportation, how does that look for you?
Sa totoo lang, kung mga kagaya ko na nanay sa araw-araw na bumabiyahe, nasanay na tayo eh. Pero actually, meron pang dapat na improve yung public transportation natin. Lalo na ngayon, kung halimbawa tumataas yung presyo ng langis, tapos walang magawa yung mga mamamayan, halimbawa pag nawawalan sila ng masasakyan, sana ma-push din yung mga programa, lalo na ngayong may crisis, na ma-improve yung transportation, lalo na ito ay dependent sa imported fossil fuel. Sana magkaroon tayo ng mas efficient, talagang i-prioritize yung public transportation natin. At the same time, paghusayan din yung mga programa that would allow more individuals to shift to active mobility. And ayun.
Speaking of projects, let's talk about 350 Pilipinas.
Yes.
What is that actually and what do you do in that organization?
So our organization, 350 Pilipinas, we work on decarbonizing the energy and transport system through movement building. So when we say movement building, we involve the communities. Inaaral namin yung kanilang mga kalagayan, yung mga kalagayan ng mga commuters, halimbawa sa transportation. Nagsimula ang work ng 350 Pilipinas sa transportation, identifying the needs and the realities of everyday commuters. So halimbawa sa PUP, inaral natin yung kalagayan ng mga pedicab transport worker dyan. Inaral natin yung mga gumagamit ng light electric vehicles for livelihood. At the same time, kung ano yung benefit nito for their daily mobility. And syempre, involved din dito yung mobility campaign ng 350 na kung saan ay pinupush natin na mas maraming individual na mag-adopt ng active mobility for daily commute. Yeah.
Where are you right now? Like how's the progress like for these projects that you have at 350 Pilipinas?
Sa ngayon, lalo na yung Pilipinas ay nasa state of energy emergency, merong nakalagay doon na dapat i-push ng mga government agencies, ng mga implementing bodies, yung active transport. So yung 350 Pilipinas ay nagpupush siya na sa mga government, sa mga implementing bodies, na sana talagang pagtuunan yung programs and policies for improving active transport. Nang sa ganun, yung mga commuter natin affected ng transport and energy crisis ay makapag-adapt sila dun sa napakabilis na epekto ng crisis.
Do you get the actual help from the government that you mentioned about government agencies, but do you get the actual help from them? And what's the help like from these agencies?
Okay, so very recently, nilaunch ng 350 Pilipinas yung Bike Bus Pilipinas. So, this is a concept na very popular sa global. Yung bike bus, isa siyang concept na kung saan sabay-sabay na nagko-commute, bike commute yung mga school children, mga office workers. So, gina-adapt siya sa office namin. Ang ginawa ng 350, dinala natin siya sa isang workplace. At ang unang workplace na tinap namin ay ang Quezon City Government. Dito sa pagkakaroon natin ng Workers' Bike Pass noong June 4 and 11, in-invite natin yung mga government workers na nagba-bike to work. So dito, nakita natin kung sino talaga yung mga nagba-bike to work dun sa Quezon City Government. And then, fortunately, yung Quezon City ay napaka-supportive niya regarding this. At the same time, in-invite din natin yung Metro Manila Development Authority na obserbahan dahil gusto natin na ipakita sa kanila na while we are campaigning for safety and visibility, hindi kasi safe yung infrastructure natin. At the same time, yung mga policies na meron tayo. Gusto natin na ma-improve itong mga bagay na ito.
So this bike bus initiative, continuing ba siya in
Yes.
Quezon City?
Okay. So yung bike bus campaign ng 350, regardless kung sa ngayon, pagpapatuloy namin siya for i-adapt namin siya sa mga school communities at the same time sa mga women communities. So nung nakaraang Tuesday lang din, nagkaroon kami ng bike bus pero nagtawag na lang kami sa group chat. Naghahanap kami ng mga makakasama para doon sa bike bus activity. Fortunately, merong mga sumama. So continuing effort siya dahil wala naman tayong formal na study ano yung bike bus pero gusto natin maging proof of concept ito na while the infrastructure is not yet ready, meron tayong pwedeng magawa for safety and visibility of vulnerable communities while campaigning for the needs of, for the improvement of active transportation.
Yeah, so it continues to grow. Pero it was launched eve of Independence Day.
Yes.
So why is that the perfect time to actually launch this initiative?
So the energy and transport system of the Philippines is highly dependent on fossil fuels. So ang simpleng call natin, independence from fossil fuel and then at the same time, freedom for people to move. Yon. So when we say freedom for people to move, this is the 94% of those who do not own motor vehicles. We want them to have better public transportation, better adoption of active mobility, syempre for improved quality of life and better mobility for everyday living.
Okay, so it seems like this new initiative of yours is flying and continues to grow nga, as I've mentioned earlier. But are there other upcoming campaigns, projects, and advocacy efforts that are still being pushed by 350 Pilipinas?
So the 350 Pilipinas Sustainable Transport Program is working on community public transportation, also promoting the light electric vehicles for daily mobility and livelihood. Dahil nung nakaraan, nagkaroon kami ng panel discussion regarding this, na identify natin na kapaki-pakinabang yung light electric vehicles for ordinary commuters, lalo na kung sa livelihood at saka sa daily mobility dahil hindi naman lahat batak na kayang magbisikleta. Merong mga tao na kailangan nila yung help ng electric vehicles kung sakasan, ng light electric vehicles. At the same time, pinupush talaga natin yung campaign natin for safety and visibility while calling for better public infrastructure support for active transportation. Ayun. So magpapatuloy yung bike bus campaign ng 350 Pilipinas.
Also, Jheny, we've mentioned a lot about the challenges in infrastructure. And kayo, being the organization that's really on the ground, what policy recommendations could significantly improve mobility and sustainability in the Philippines?
So while 350 Pilipinas is not really working on policies, but we work more on movement building, identifying the needs of vulnerable communities. So kami, ang may re-recommend namin, siguro pagpapatuloy na pag-aaral ng mga pangangailangan ng mga everyday commuters natin. So, humihingi tayo ng suporta mula sa lahat ng mga sektor na maaaring makatulong para pag-aralan pa nating mabuti kung ano ba yung pangangailangan ng 94% of the Filipino people who do not own, who only rely on public transportation. Ayun. So, nagpapatuloy tayo sa call natin na mas marami pang community ang ma-involve sa pagbibuild ng mga movement for better transport system.
What legislations do you think yung makakatulong, lalo na sa, you said, 94% of road users in the Philippines?
Okay. Siguro yung isa na nakikita ko na makakatulong sa kanila, let's say, yung mga batas siguro natin, lalo na for implementing the electric vehicle adoption sa Pilipinas, itaas siguro natin yung allocation or yung target natin for public transportation na pag-shift into electric mass transit. Importante din na ma-address dito siguro yung pagkukunan ng energy sources kapag tayo ay nag-a-adapt ng mga electric vehicles sa public transportation natin. Masiguro natin na ang pagkukunan nito ay magmumula sa renewable energy.
Pero also, Jheny, there are a lot of people who are against sa shift to electrified vehicles. What can you say about that, and how can you convince them to actually do the shift?
Siguro, mangunguna ito doon sa kung sa paano siya tinitignan din ng mga nandun sa nagpapatupad ng ating mga programa, ng mga ating mga polisiya. Sa bahagi ng 350 Pilipinas, ang maaari nating ipakita dito ay yung daily realities kung sino ba ang gumagamit ng light electric vehicles. At siya ay nakakatulong for improving air quality, nakakatulong siya for daily mobility, at nakakatulong siya sa pag-i-improve ng livelihood ng mga tao. At ang gumagamit ng light electric vehicles ay yung mga tinatawag natin na mga tao na kinakailangan ng suporta kinakailangan ng suporta, like yung mga mothers, kagaya ko, pag naghahatid ako sa school, nakikita ko, hindi ko naka-light electric vehicle sila papasok ng school. Well, kami naman ng anak ko, naglalakad naman kami. Pero marami sa kanila yung gumagamit ng ganitong mode of transportation, paggamit mo sa araw-araw nila na mobility.
Jheny, in the past, there are the very reason why we had electrified vehicles is to support the environment. And right now, naniniwala ka ba na dahil sa fuel crisis, mas yun na ba yung naging reason ng mga tao, and bakit hindi yun dapat yung reason?
Well, dapat paging reason pa rin siya dahil economic yun. Gumagastos tayo doon para sa daily mobility, yung nakasanayan natin. At the same time, kapag sinabi kasi nating environment, hindi lang yan yung mga puno or yung mga structure. Pag sinabi nating environment, dapat kasama dyan yung mga tao. So, dapat maging priority na hindi lang natin siya tignan na yung pag-a-adapt ng mga ganitong mode of transportation ay para maka-menos tayo. Pero actually, meron siyang long-lasting na epekto dun sa kabuhayan tsaka sa buhay din ng mga tao. So, yun.
So, it should start young kasi sa mga mas bata, sa younger generation. So, what's your advice for young people who want to get involved into climate action, mobility advocacy, and community organizing?
Okay. Actually, yung choice na pagbibisikleta sa Pilipinas, mahirap siya. Lalo na kung babae o bata. Kasi yung hindi ready yung mga public spaces natin dito. Pero siguro masasabi ko sa point of view na lang din kung paano ko siya ginagawa at saka sa pamilya namin. O continuing na pagpapakita na kaya natin to ginagawa, kaya tayo nag-active mobility regardless kung ready yung infrastructure and policies natin. Dahil may gusto tayong mabago sa lipunan natin. We want we want the transport system to be about people and not about motor vehicles. We want the transport system to be about them, and we want freedom for the people's mobility.
But Jheny, ikaw ba growing up, did you experience the same challenges? But before you answer that, we'll take a short break, and when we return, we'll get to know more about the growing push for sustainable transport in the Philippines and the initiatives aimed at creating safer, cleaner, and more inclusive mobility options for Filipinos. Stay with us as we talk to Jheny Dabu of 350 Pilipinas. We'll be right back. You're tuned in to the Billionaire News Channel and Mellow 947 BFM.
Looking for the perfect escape? Discover Club Nalu, a serene beachfront retreat where stillness meets style. Nestled along the quiet shores of Bacnotan in La Union, Club Nalu is designed for slow mornings, ocean breezes, and moments that help you unwind. cozy rooms and sun-drenched villas to relaxing spaces inspired by nature. Every corner invites you to pause, breathe, and recharge. Club Nalu, come as you are and leave feeling a little lighter. Book now at clubnalu.ph.
And we're back. This is Shift Happens. We're still with Jheny Dabu, Sustainable Transport Campaigner for 350 Pilipinas. So, Jheny, before the break, I asked you, do you experience the same challenge growing up? Kasi ako personally, I don't ride a bike. But of course, yung mga bata kasi before freely nakakapag-bike lang. Ikaw ba, did you experience that during your time?
Yes, experience it.
Tumatakas ka din ba?
Oo. Actually, nag-aral ako mag-bike nung bata ako. For about 5 years, nag-aaral ako mag-bike. Pero hindi ko siya natutunan. Sobrang hirap. Tinry ko din sa kalsada mismo. Sobrang hirap niya. So, ngayon, yung anak ko, tinuturuan ko rin siya mag-bike. Although hindi ako marunong, pero at least yung asawa ko, nakakapagturo sa kanya. At nagagawa lang namin siya actually during car-free Sundays. Kasi napakahirap niyang gawin. Halimbawa, kung sa labas, napakabilis ng mga sasakyan, hindi namin siya mag-out. Wala kaming available space for it.
And konti lang yung mga places na may car-free Sundays. So, what does a typical Sunday look like na walang kotse sa daan? Anong ginagawa ng mga tao aside from biking and cycling?
Well, ngayon, magandang nakikita natin na meron na ring mga nag-i-initiate ng mga car-free Sundays. We call it as low-emission zones. Nakakatulong ito para dun sa makapagpahinga yung kalsada natin mula dun sa emission. Pero nakikita natin na marami pa ring pamilya yung hindi nagkakaroon ng opportunity na makapunta dun sa mga car-free areas dahil syempre limited din naman yung mga lugar na to. Ang gusto natin, dumami pa yung mga ganito para yung mga anak natin hindi na lang sila sa mall or hindi na lang sila nakakulong sa bahay tuwing weekend, pero makapaglaro sila on the ground kapag weekend.
Okay, as a woman somehow fighting for cleaner environment, cleaner air, was it hard for you to do this considering the challenges that we have right now?
Okay, so I started actually in a women's organization. So ito, mas focus ito on safe spaces, on violence against women. Pero nung nakarating na rin ako sa 350 Pilipinas, nakita ko kung yung intersectionality din ng climate and gender, hindi siya nalalayo. Lalo na yung climate impacts din sa kababaihan, sa vulnerable communities, doble-doble siya. Like halimbawa, yung isang simpleng nagbabike na babae, hindi lang niya iisipin yung violence from motor vehicles, iisipin din niya kasi yung violence mula dun sa kawalan ng safety, ng ilaw, mula dun sa mga threat sa paligid niya. Yan.
What projects are you pushing para, of course, malabanan itong ganitong mga issue na kinakaharap ng mga kababaihan when it comes to commuting?
Okay. So yung isa, for 350 Pilipinas, while we are pushing for active mobility, dapat yung design ng ating mobility campaign ay inclusive siya. So kailangan nating i-address ano ba yung pinagdadaanan ng mga women, at syempre una-una diyan ay yung safety in everything. So gusto natin na ma-experience sila ano yung safety, ano yung maipaliwanag natin from their perspective, ano yung safety and visibility. Tapos ito yung dali natin para mahulma natin yung mobility campaign.
Do you have your personal experience when it comes to that?
Marami.
What can you share?
Okay, so sa buong buhay ko yata na gumamit ako ng transport system natin. Syempre, like any other women, subjected to different kinds of harassments. Hindi lang sexual violence, pero pati yung emotional at saka yung physical violence, marami na. Pero masasabi ko na yung experience na to, siguro ito yung ito rin yung nag-empower sa sarili ko to move forward dahil nakikita ko na yung transport system natin hindi siya hiwalay dun sa experiences ng mga kababaihan. Actually, ang mga kababaihan yung pinaka-apektado nung crisis ng transport system natin.
So what's your message like for the government agencies, transport agencies in particular, to address this problem that the women are facing?
Siguro, ang message natin para sa lahat na, isipin natin yung transport system natin is about people. It's time to move forward na ang iniisip natin sa transport, pag sinabi natin transport ay motor vehicles, pero it's about people. Kasi when we thought of transport system about people, ibig sabihin, ma-address na rin natin kung ano yung pangangailangan nila. And hopefully, with that, magkaroon tayo ng sustainable transportation for all. Yan.
In your advocacy, where do you think you are right now?
Okay, so in our advocacy, ito yung pagkakataon din na maipromote natin ng husto yung kung ano ba yung transport system na gusto natin para sa future generation natin. While we are not yet in there dun sa sustainable transportation na hinahangad natin, pero hopefully by doing this and for having more people to be aware of what is active mobility, what is better public transportation for everyone, magkaroon tayo ng sustainable transportation.
Yes. On that note, your final message to commuters, cyclists, motorists, all road users to support sustainable transport options and the future that we're looking forward.
Okay, so ang sustainable transportation, it's not impossible to happen. It's possible if we think of transportation being about people. So from here, sana magkaroon tayo ng independence from fossil fuels and magkaroon ang mga tao ng kalayaan to move around.
Thank you so much. She is Jheny Dabu, Sustainable Transport Campaigner for 350 Pilipinas. Thank you so much for coming to the show.
Thank you so much.
And that concludes our roundup of the stories driving the industry forward. I'm Gie Barroga. Join us again tomorrow on Shift Happens, your fast-track guide to everything on the move. Keep it here on the Billionaire News Channel and Mellow 947 BFM.